Want me to give you a short intro? Good evening.
Don't sing, Chuck. Don't sing.
Don. I want to welcome everybody. My name is Chuck Kaiser. I think everybody here knows me, but to those who don't. Janie's going to give a short presentation. It should be around 15 minutes. She's going to explain to those of you who don't know exactly how ECC started and what it's done and where it's going, and with the slideshow. I apologize to those in the back. You might not be able to see this, but we are recording the entire presentation. It will be out on YouTube, and we'll distribute it. And I know you won't have problems hearing because everything's coming through the speakers overhead. Is that right?
Yes. Awesome.
Super. And with that, I will give you Janie.
Thanks, Jackie.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Janie, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the co-founder and managing director of ECC Nepal. I really want to thank you guys all for coming and being here tonight. You have no idea how much this support means to me. ECC would not exist without all of you incredible people. So thank you for coming here to listen and learn about what we are doing in Nepal. I've had this question a lot tonight. Janie, why do you work in Nepal? How did you start working in Nepal? So I want to explain that a little bit to you guys and explain how Nepali education is so important to me. I first went to Nepal in 2013 as part of a Vanderbilt research project, and I was there to study rural education. So I approached one of the largest organizations in Nepal doing rural education work, and I asked if I could visit and evaluate their schools. The manager of that organization put me on a bus to the middle of nowhere by myself for a month, where I studied the schools and the education system. Unfortunately, what I found was a system that was failing an entire generation. I think these photos really say a lot as far as the infrastructure that I found when I first went to Nepal in the schools. Beyond the lack of furniture and the lack of resources, teachers had no idea how to teach or how children learn. They were using outdated memorization-based teaching techniques, and students were going to school but not learning anything. We assume that when you go to school, you learn how to read and write and do math. But that is something we take so much for granted because that is not the truth for so many children around the world, including my kids in Nepal. So I came back to the city and I had a report about these schools, and the director of that organization asked me to share my report with him. And I was a little hesitant because obviously it wasn't the nicest report, but it was for the kids and I wanted the best for the children, so I did share that report with him. And that man, whose organization I kind of dragged through the dirt, is Min, the executive director of ECC Nepal. So after I read my report to him and he heard what I had to say, he decided to quit his current job, and he asked me to join him in opening our own organization because he wanted to actually make an impact in the lives of Nepali children. And that's how ECC was born. We officially opened in 2017. We started in just 3 schools and 9 classrooms, and today we work in 20 schools, 67 classrooms, and we help over 2,500 students. People often ask me, so Janie, what do you do in Nepal? Well, I teach teachers how to teach. Okay, so I bring interactive education to rural classrooms. So we provide teaching materials and extensive teacher training, infrastructure, and furniture to these rural classrooms that need our help. Instead of telling you, it's a little bit easier to show you. This is a video of a traditional Nepali classroom. I took this video just 2 months ago. This is a school that we don't work in. So this is what a normal classroom looks like in Nepal. And this is a video of one of our partner classrooms, an ECC classroom. You can already see a massive difference with the infrastructure, the resources available, the way the students are sitting, and just how happy they are to be there. Beyond what we do with the physical infrastructure, we make huge changes in how the students learn and how the teachers teach. This is a video showing some traditional teaching. Would you like coffee? Is there volume on that, Ben? This is a video showing traditional teaching in the Nepali classroom. So our sound is not working, but the teacher is basically going D-O-G, and the students are saying dog, D-O-G, dog. And this is how students are taught in a traditional classroom. To compare with, this is an ECC classroom. I took this video just 2 months ago. This is a student also teaching an animal's name in English, but instead she's using whiteboards and word cards in an interactive way so that students are actually learning. Beyond what we do in the classroom, we have also opened 2 libraries since starting ECC Nepal. You have to remember that this is an area that is devoid of resources. Libraries and books are unheard of in schools. If we had not opened these libraries, it's likely that most students would go their entire school career without touching, seeing, or reading a book. And now we have over 200 students that can come to the library every day and learn from our library teachers. Something happened in 2020, you guys might have heard of it, COVID. And obviously that was challenging for us, just like it was challenging for so many people around the world. A lot of children in America, they were distance learning. Unfortunately, our students in Nepal did not have that privilege. There's not infrastructure in place such as computers, Wi-Fi, or even internet and power at home in order to learn on a computer. Students didn't have notebooks, pencils, or any sort of reading or writing material at home, and oftentimes they didn't even have a literate parent to help them with their studies. We did the best we could to help students during this time by providing workbooks and small group classes. Luckily, schools have now reopened as of early 2022, and we're happy to see all our children back in the classroom. We hit the ground running right when COVID ended, not yet, but right when schools reopened after COVID, and we opened 2 computer labs. You have to remember this is an area that's completely devoid of resources, so students have never seen, touched, or used a computer. Learning technology literacy is not something Nepali people get the privilege of doing. So now these children are learning how to turn on, type, write, save files, send an email, and they'll be able to take these technology literacy skills with them their whole lives as they become contributing members of Nepali society. We turned 5 years old in March, which I cannot believe, and I was lucky enough to be in Nepal to celebrate that milestone. It was a great time to reflect on what we've done in 5 years and to really see the impact that we've made. I want to tell you a story about 2 schools that really highlights ECC and what we do. Saraswati School is a school we do not work in yet. Lekalgaon School is one of our project schools. I went to Saraswati School with my project manager in March, and we went into a 1st grade classroom, and we asked the students to write a simple Nepali word in their notebook that they just learned in the lesson. Silence. We asked again. No one picked up their pencil. So Priyanka and I said, okay, let's make it easier. Everybody write your name in Nepali in your notebook. Again, nothing. So we said, okay, let's make it easier. Everybody write the first 3 letters of the Nepali alphabet. That's like ABC. Out of all the kids in this 1st grade class, there was only 1 student who knew how to write the first 3 letters of the Nepali alphabet. In contrast, at Lekalgaon School, one of our project schools, I went into the 1st grade class the next day, and I said, students, who can write their name in Nepali? And everybody raised their hand, and this little boy even said, I can write my name in Nepali and English. And not only could every student write their name, every student could write simple sentences, and every student in this class was already reading. So you can see her here. I don't know if we have the audio, but they're already reading passages from the storybook out loud. Can you back one? These students are the same age. They've had the same number of days in school. They follow the same curriculum and textbook. But one school uses our interactive methodology, and the other is a traditional school. In this school, the students can't even write the first letters of the alphabet. In this school, they're reading storybooks. This is not the only place we've seen incredible changes due to our work. When I first visited Mazda School in 2018, I went into 4th grade and only 13% of 4th graders were literate. So they'd gone through 4 years of school and only 13% of them could read. I'm so happy to report that when I went back to Mazda School in 2022, 74% of 4th graders are now fully literate and can read with fluency. I think this teacher said it best. The children who are in grades 4 and 5 are significantly better than the previous years. This is a direct result of what we do and how we teach in grades 1 to 3, thanks to the ECC intervention. More important than sharing these statistics with you is sharing the stories of people's lives that we've changed. We've changed Lakshmi's life. Lakshmi comes from a very challenging background, living in extreme poverty, and she wanted to study her bachelor's degree. She was working days, nights, weekends on her family farm to make enough money to feed herself, her 3 younger sisters, and her elderly father. We hired her as our librarian in 2019. She was able to study her bachelor's in the morning and work for us in the afternoon, using her salary to pay her school fees. Now Lakshmi has finished her bachelor's degree and she is a full-time librarian of ECC. We changed the life of Bhavana. Bhavana loves school, but oftentimes her mom would ask her to stay home and help with domestic chores. This is not uncommon in Nepal, and it was very frustrating for Bhavana because she wanted to be in school. Until ECC came to her school. Her mom, after seeing the ECC changes in school, realized the value of education and the value of what Bhavana was getting by going to school every day. I'm happy to report that Bhavana now attends school every day, and she graduated 5th grade at the top of her class. She wants to be a pilot and fly around the world. We changed the life of Lakshman. Lakshman can tell you stories about his classroom before ECC. He'll tell you about when he was in 1st grade and the classroom was cold and dark and dirty. He'll tell you how much he hated school and how much he wanted to drop out after 5th grade. Lakshman just graduated 5th grade as not only the highest scoring student in his school, but out of all of our schools, he has top 5% scores in every subject. No one loves to learn now more than Lakshman. No one raises their hand faster in class. Lakshman is now excited to start in secondary school this year, and he's going to be an engineer. We changed the life of Prasant. Prasant was failing 3rd grade. He couldn't read before we came. He just didn't understand what the teachers were telling him. And then he learned interactive teaching and learning, and now he is doing great in 5th grade. He's on track to graduate this year. And Prasant wants to be a doctor to serve his people and his country. We changed the life of Tulsi. Tulsi is a student that benefits from one of our computer labs, and I think she said it best herself. After I learned computer, I can get any kind of job, even an office or government job. I never thought I could have a future like that. We changed the life of Babek. Babek originally was enrolled in private school, and he absolutely hated it. He would scream and cry every day when his parents asked him to go to school, and he wasn't learning anything. When he didn't understand, his teachers would just yell at him and tell him what to do. Finally, his parents pulled him out of private school and they enrolled him in an ECC school. Vivek loves school now. He loves learning in an interactive way. His mom tells us that he runs out the door every morning excited to go to school. He's now reading sentences and getting ready to read storybooks. And he will tell you himself, he likes that, quote, his teacher shows him what to do instead of tells him. And we changed the life of Tika. Tika is a girl in our Needy Student Fund. This is for children from a challenging home life that need a little extra help to stay in school. When I met Tika, she was repeating 1st grade for the 3rd time at 10 years old. She was coming to school on average 1 day a month. The other days, she was working manual labor and different jobs around the village to make enough money to support her and her father so they could eat and live. Now, Tika and her father receive aid such as food, fuel for their fire, cooking oil, clothes, and school supplies. And Tika is coming to school every day. I'm so happy to tell you that she is now able to write her name, read simple words, and she'll be graduating 1st grade this year. We did it. And I use the word we very intentionally here because ECC would not exist. I would not be standing here if it wasn't for everyone who's believed in me and what we do, even when I didn't believe in myself. So thanks to everyone in this room and anyone who supported ECC, we have changed those children's lives and 2,494 others just like them. But my work's not finished yet. Just this week, 420 students have entered ECC schools in 1st grade, waiting for their chance to learn and get a quality education. We have 10 classrooms that we're hoping to join into our program this year. 10 classrooms of students like this, waiting to get a quality and decent education. If you feel like supporting us and you haven't had a chance, or you know anybody else that would be interested, we have these lovely donation boards up here tonight. I see a lot of you have already been so generous and chosen a card. We have different cards for you to choose from if there's something that you're interested in supporting. You can buy the salary of a librarian, just like Lakshmi. Or you can pay for a needy student like Tika who needs a little extra help to stay in school this year. I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for coming tonight. But then I realized it's not me who needs to say thank you, because it's not my life that's been changed. So I have a little message for my students in Nepal for all of you.
Get the sound out.
Are these on?
Yeah, they're on.
No. Let's see if we can make it work.